I started the Navigators group 12 years ago. The Effingham County Navigator Team is a 501c3 nonprofit for families that have children or young adults with a disability. We participate in community activities. We not only educate ourselves, but we try to also educate others, and we educate those in our community, which is important because people do what they know how to do until they learn how to do it differently. This leads to advocacy and awareness. Because people in our county, if we don't educate them, they can't fix something they don't know about. So we have to educate them. And there's a good chance if you're not caring for someone with a disability, there's a good chance you probably don't understand those needs. So that's what we try to help others understand is what those needs are. The Navigators also do a non-competitive recreational program. We offer basketball, bowling, baseball, and soccer, and then we have other activities that we do. We participate in parades. You'll see us in the parades, like the Christmas parade in Rincon. And we also have our young adults group. So I started in Navigators because I wanted to connect with others, families that was like on the same path that I was. And I wanted a group that didn't focus on one diagnosis, because my daughter has multiple diagnoses. Due to an in-utero stroke, one of my daughters was born with cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and considered legally blind due to optic nerve hypoplasia. At age 2, she had brain surgery where 2 parts of her brain were removed, one of those being where her speech is located, and 2 titanium plates placed between the left side and the right side of her brain to help alleviate some of the seizure activities because Dakota was having 8 to 10 seizures a day. Then at age 5, I felt like I got punched in the gut because the doctor wrote on the little prescription pad, autism. Now I knew about cerebral palsy and I knew about epilepsy, but this thing, autism, was new to me and it scared me. And she was diagnosed with severe and profound autism. When a parent like myself gets a diagnosis, they don't give us a handbook that says, here's the instructions to life with this child. They don't tell you how to care for them. They don't tell you how do I find resources, how do I educate myself and others on how to give this beautiful little girl the best quality of life. So I wanted a group that kept it real, but also kept it positive, because I could easily slid down a spiral of depression. So I started the Effingham County Navigator Team, and folks, I'm here to tell you that we have brought an inclusion revolution to Effingham County. In order to tell you about this inclusion revolution, I first need to tell you about my 2 youngest daughters. Now, I told you I do have an older daughter, but I also have 2 younger daughters. And I told you about Dakota that has all those diagnoses and all those things, but I wanted to mention my other youngest daughter. She's the one that keeps me on my toes, folks. She's a typical teenager, loves running roads with her 2 best friends, loves, she's on a bowling league, she goes to concerts, she loves concerts. She loves swimming. Her favorite place in the whole world is Dollywood, and yes, she likes riding them big roller coasters. And she's active in her school. She's earned her varsity letters. For the past 2 years, she's always there to cheer on her friends. She owns her own, believe it or not, she already owns her own home on 20 acres of land. She plans on when she graduates to own her own business, because believe me, this girl does not like being told what to do. She'd rather tell others what to do. So she's gonna own her own business. So you may be asking yourself, well, what does all this have to do with an inclusion revolution here in Effingham County? Well, to explain inclusion revolution, I have to be honest with you. And I probably shouldn't have told the story in church. You see, I don't have two younger daughters. I have one younger daughter. Dakota Darlene Roundtree, age 19. Dakota is a diamond dog for the South Effingham High School varsity baseball team, where she's earned her varsity letter for 2 years. She does have two best friends who, by the way, do not have disabilities. And they have been friends since the age of 5. One of them is Annabelle Shealy, who is currently going to college at the University of Georgia to become a neurosurgeon because she was inspired by her best friend. The other will graduate this year, little Nick Milbrandt, or as Dakota calls him, Mr. Wonderful. He graduates this year and will be going on to ABAC to play baseball. Dakota's two best friends is the perfect example of you're never too young to learn about awareness, advocacy, and most of all, acceptance. And how to be a friend to someone who happens to have a disability, to make beautiful memories. They get that you can say more with a smile than words, because words aren't needed, just love. It was this friendship that led to the vision of the inclusion revolution, that it was first seen. Because you see, at age 6, these kids have been friends since age 5. Age 6, little Nick overheard me and his mom talking one day, and I said, we were talking about the proms and what kids will do when they're in high school and stuff. And he heard me say that I felt sure Dakota would probably never get to experience a prom because of her diagnosis, especially with autism. Well, that little 6-year-old boy that overheard that conversation said, Miss Pauline, I'll take Dakota to the prom. And guess what? At age 13, when Dakota was old enough to attend her first special needs prom, who was there in his tux? Mr. Wonderful. Fast forward a few years, when two amazing people come into my life that made sure the inclusion revolution had a platform. And you may be thinking, well, who are those two people? Those two people would be Josh Reddick and the late, great Mr. Clarence E. Morgan. They worked to ensure, by building an all-accessible baseball field, that all kids could hear those two words, play ball. This led to, when on opening day of that field, of course, Dakota's two best friends were there. And some of the other people out there was wondering, what are y'all getting to do out there? What are y'all doing out there? And little Nick explained that they were there for their friend. Next day, I get a phone call from the South Effingham High School baseball coach that says, I want all my players to be out there with the Navigators. So on Thursdays, those boys would come out there and they'd run those bases with those kids. They'd hold their hands. These were grown kids in high school, holding somebody's hand, holding another grown kid's hand. You know what that led to? That led to one of those Navigators getting to be the baseball manager for that varsity baseball team. It led to two of those young ladies on that team becoming diamond dogs and earning their varsity letter. It led to a young lady not sitting by herself at lunch because you know what? Some of the baseball players said, come sit with us. It led to less bullying, more friendships, more lifelong relationships. All right there because of a baseball field. That's my daughter's friends right there. And those two kids, they drove all night long to surprise Dakota at Dollywood. Just to spend one day with her at Dollywood. And you tell me, grown people here, if two young kids starting at age 5 can understand what it is to be friends with somebody with a disability. To see that person, to see that girl that loves to go to concerts, that loves to listen to music, that loves to go ride the biggest roller coasters that they're scared of riding. If they can see her, certainly you can. I'm saying, can you go to the next slide, please? This is some of the stuff that we do. And then the next slide. I have a saying, y'all, a lot of people associate a puzzle piece with autism. I don't associate it with autism, I associate it with community. Because you know what? We are all a piece of the puzzle. It is only when we put our piece of the puzzle in that you can see the beautiful picture of what inclusion and the best quality of life can be. Not just for that person with a disability, but for all people. Because you are not blessed until you have been blessed by being friends with a person with a disability. Thank you.